Hi, this is a guy in a den with a quick little review of this game called Grit Valor 1949. I have unlocked a fair amount, and there are still a few things that I haven't unlocked, so this is not 100%, but these are my thoughts so far. And it's not a bad game, it's a small little game with some tactics and strategy involved into it. And I'm gonna quit here so I can show you. And then I will show you a little bit of combat as far as that, just to get a better idea. Okay. I just wanted to try out the latest one I unlocked. So let's start out with the unlockables here, or the different mechs that you can unlock. And as you see, I unlocked everything except for this one. I just don't have the blueprints yet. And the blueprint, you can unlock any of the other ones except for the first three are unlocked for you. But all these other ones down here, you can unlock as you go. It just gets more expensive for every unlock. There is one flaw in this particular game right now, what I think is bad, because these are not all better. They're just different. And that is, you have no way of telling or seeing what the stats are before you unlock it. So a lot of it will come, unless you watch someone else making a review on it, or some of the information coming out from devs, but you know, you won't always read every single thing. So this is something that should absolutely be available from the get-go. You should have a clear view of what each of them do, with the ability to maybe side by side comparing them in the case you want to make a choice. Because once you spend those blueprints, they're gone. And it's going to take a lot more to unlock. And the reason is this. Some of these are good very early on. Some of these are bad later on. You think that anything that you unlock would automatically be better, but that's really not true. The way they line up has nothing to do with their worth. I bought this Warbringer first. Terrible choice. It only has a weapon range of 3. The damage is milling. Weapon range of 3 is okay-ish, but I was going into some areas where that kind of weapon range is not good enough for the kind of damage it's making. This one was decent, the Steelhawk, but a very slow attack speed. It has a long range 4, and it's a single shot. It is decent in most of that aspect. Then I thought I was gonna do the lead slug much later on. Thought that was gonna be a really awesome one. It's terrible. There are some scenarios where you can get these unlocked things that increases range. It lowers the speed, but it increases the range somewhat. But you will get so few of them, very hard and difficult to pull. In fact, in the last map that I unlocked, I couldn't find any of them. And there were more scenarios to fight than that one. That's terrible. The one time I got it, it was like with a 50% movement speed. It was basically a slug just for a 3 range. I will never get into the position I needed to be in order to fire the weapon. And yeah, it was a nightmare. I tried this one later on. It has a good firing speed, but it's terrible against armor, as I noticed. In fact, they will stand at three squares away from you and just fire at you while you're standing there and have to go out from cover and potentially get mangled. Also, what you will notice is that the later map, they will do tremendous more damage to your guy. You will do less to theirs. So unfortunately, a lot of the fact then becomes you basically You basically going out from cover, getting all your armor destroyed really quick, while it takes forever for you to destroy theirs. It's just one of those things where it should be good to upfront check that, because I would have bought this one a lot earlier. Earlier on, it would be more useful when there's a lot of more infantry that you fight instead of mechs and tanks. And then later on, I would probably move into something like the Steelhawk, which is further range. Now, Meltdown I've been used a lot, which is a fire-based. I'm curious about this one, but it looks like it's gonna have very short range, which means it's terrible. You don't want to use short-ranged anything in late combat because of how the damage ramps up against you, and even if you're behind decent cover, and it's more difficult in the latest map because the maps are just terrible. There's so many things in a way, and a weird thing is that this is an artillery piece and it can't shoot over objects. If there's a pipe in the way, you can't shoot over it. So you're constantly having these blind spots where you don't have the ability to bring the weapon fully to bear. Again, I don't know why that is, because this is a bombard, which means it should be able to fire over it. That's kind of the whole point with artillery. Whereas with fire, that should just negate cover because it's fire, right? For some reason, the way the map are designed in the very latest one, and I will show you an example of that, it drives you nuts. There's so much things in the way that it's just not worth it. Now, there are a couple of really cool features here, and that's you see I have unlocked all the different slots that you can improve. And then you also, in the end, you can also do these when you unlock that. And those are kind of boosts. The only thing is that the boosts themselves are mid. Attacks and undamaged and it deals massive increased damage. I haven't really noticed that, because if they have armor, it doesn't apparently hits the armor. It takes forever to shave off armor in the end. It's like they have so much armor in the end map that it's a struggle. Meanwhile, they will strip your armor like nothing. Shell Strike. Attacks increase damage to enemies with armor. I have not noticed that. That just means that they have such an enormous amount of armor that you have to have this in order to be able to strip off some of that, which just makes that the whole thing kind of pointless. As far as the one where you have to use scripts, some of them are okay, many of them are terrible. Because if you have to think about how quickly the match is done and how quickly you get into combat, like this one would be good. While at low health, if this mech kills an enemy, they are healed. That's good. That's a one to use. This one is good too, Vigor Rage, which means the attack deal more damage the more health it has. So it's kind of like the opposite of this, sorta. This mech damage is increased for the entire mission each time it clears an enemy wave without taking any damage. That's situational. This one is terrible. For 5 of these. When this mech takes lethal damage, it's instead restored health. This can only occur once per mission. I would not use that, because you don't ever want to come to a point when that happens. Maybe in an end fight, but since you can't switch these on the fly, you have to operate with this expensive one all the way till the very end. Anyway, this is a decent system. There's just not enough of these to kind of give you an idea if it's worth it. I would like for them to be able to show this right off. You want to be able to unlock anything with shorter range quickly, because they're only really good for those early scenarios. Towards the end, range is such a key. Because of all the different weird obstacles, you need a range. There are so many turrets that pops up out of the ground. and things of that nature. Also, let me show you the pilot here. I have unlocked all the pilots, and they're pretty good. There's some distinction between them that makes them worth using. I really never used this one past the first couple levels until I got the latest one. The whole jump thing is interesting, but there's so much better things. I used him a lot for the mines to lay them down. It's situational in that it's just one square. At a certain point, you can get a random thing that increases the size of the mines that it lays out. Those are killer mines, though. They go over that, they're gonna lose most of their health. She's good because she's can then self-repair. That one I used for a while until I realized that it just doesn't do enough damage to be worth it. This one is good, except for armor in this, again, it can also have to do with the fact that you want to max out the levels on them. Having the ability to put on armor is awesome. There are some skills where if they don't manage to, if you still have armor left, it will add additional armor. So there's one way of taking maybe a little bit damage and still get more armor. Or every time you don't really take anything, you get more armor, or fill up on armor at least. This one is good. This is a remote mine. You pretty much just drive it there and it explodes. The damage seems a little bit low. Of course, that's the trade-off from regular mines. But it also leaves some burning stuff behind. So maybe it's just a question of boosting damage. Speed, not necessary. Many times I've seen my mines end up there before they actually drop the mech, and it just leaves burning stuff around, not the explosion. So I like this one. That one is actually pretty good. Now, as far as the scenarios here, let me show you. That one was relatively easy. You, of course, got to struggle at the very beginning when you don't have anything unlocked. Scandinavia was actually tough. For some reason. I don't know why it was so tough. It just was a struggle. Western Europe was pretty easy. I got through that one quick. New Germany is a pain because of the map design, and I will show you that too. You can also unlock these field center turrets that you can also upgrade, but they're worthless. The range is very low. They don't seem to be doing anything. Healing is always better. Way better. You're gonna absolutely need it. Those remote turrets, I can only see that as a scenario in the end boss, for the fact that you kind of have to shoot him in the back in order to him to pop out the power thing that he has on the back, so you could use it. That would be the only reason I would see any reason to use it as a kind of trickery. I think it would be much better if you could use both. Like, it wasn't a choice of either or. You can have both, but you still only have so many charges. It's like 4 charges in total. So if you have at least 1 or 2 charges, and when you really truly need it, yeah, that might be useful. Might. Because the damage is low, the range is terrible. But it's one of those very situational. But having to go through a whole region with that terrible turret compared to being able to self-repair or repair any other mechs, yeah, that's not a choice. I will tell you that. Now, I got rid of I used that range 2 guy for the longest time. I got rid of him, and I have this bombard guy now. He is just awesome. It's just a winner right there. And remote mine on that one. That one, self-healing ability, that's a fire-based 3 range, 4 range. I really wish they had more options to increase range. I don't care if it lowers the speed a little bit, 50%, that's just awful. But maybe 25% or something like that. Just to increase the range a little bit. More of that. It was like it was missing this entire map. So, let me show you a little bit of that combat in order to give you an idea. First of all, the map design. Not the best. As you can see, you have these doors right here where you have to stand on that to open it so someone can go through. Or else you have to go the long way around. Terrible design, but it happens. The enemy, however, can lower it without even have to step on it. Why do you have to step on it? I have no idea. It's one of those choices where, yeah, sure, they can have a remote trigger and just open it. But why even put these things down? You know, if that's the case. And this is also one of those scenarios where I have to move this guy over here, but if you survive all 4 rounds, you win. I don't know if you get anything extra for doing it. It's the worst function of all. You have to go up to it, then start moving incrementally in order for it to follow you. If you can get that done uh, within 4 waves, you're doing amazing God's work. It's just not going to happen. It would be better if you could actually control this by being close enough. By yes, let's say you have to be within 3 squares and then you can actually move it, because then you can set the direction. But having to be in front of it or whatever in order to move it, it's a terrible function. It's awful. These one are fire crates, so there's got to be fire coming out of them. So that means you take damage. It's a function. I don't really care. It's not the worst thing that could be in a game. It's a little bit dumb for sure, but whatever. Oh, another one design choice that I don't really understand is that these are just one directional, meaning that you can only get the protection from it by being on the side that you see the shield. I have no idea why that's the case. In this, that makes sense because that's just whatever they're an edge. But here, if you want to say try to set up a final wave here, then obviously you want to be on that side. I don't understand why a actual shelter somehow only protects from one side. That is a weird choice, and I hope they would change that because it really make no sense. I know it's just the way it is in the game itself, but it is kind of silly. In this one, I'm not gonna even bother trying to control this. Defend it, of course, so it doesn't get destroyed, but I wouldn't care one diddly, even if it give me more to get. It gets hectic enough for you to worry about that guy. It's just a terrible function that they should adjust. Now, I may say a lot of stuff here, but I still like the game. It just that it has those weird choices that just makes it less fun. And that's kind of, let's get going here. We talked enough. Obviously, it dropped it the furthest away you could possibly want it to be. So they're going to come from there. So we are going to go up here. That guy is going to open the door for us. No. That one is pretty fast too. It's really fast. And he's just gonna go here. And that one is gonna go here too. I told you to... I tell you. Okay, so anything good here? These are just common. We're gonna go there. That one is open up. We can go here. There we go. As you can see, that one has a splash around the whole place. So that's pretty good. But again, why can't I shoot over a pipe? I have no idea. It is supposed to be a bombard. Even this one can. It is just really bad choices for... Okay, you guys are gonna leave here. Okay, more armor and cluster. I mean, I just gotta do that. I think he has full armor, so he wouldn't do anything. Now they're gonna come from there.
What do you need? Getting into combo.
I wonder if they gotta drop in one up there. Maybe. Hang on. Just go here. Yep, they did. So, we're gonna use our first remote mine. Okay. Where are they gonna come from?
Enemy approaching.
There. We're gonna go there. Where do we have the protection? Here, up here. Okay. So you can switch over there right away.
Orders?
Yes. Traveling. Yes. I just seemed that sorry.
What do you need? On my way.
You're taking critical damage. Enemy dispatched. Look out! You're taking critical damage.
I'm taking critical damage, man. So you can go and get that one.
The final enemy wave.
So they're gonna come from here. And I have no... Well, actually I do have protection. So that one can go there. He can actually go here.
Is approaching.
And again, movement speed, crit chance. I told you to go there. Time to remote mine that thing. That's why we have them.
Danger! That damage looks critical.
He also have a thing where he can heal every time he takes damage. So that's pretty good. I wasn't too worried about him. Burn. The end of each wave, if the amount is below 30, it does restore some of the health. So that's pretty good. I actually wouldn't mind that one. Okay, so 3 choices. You have advanced combat, combat. So if I do that one, 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 that one. So I can pretty much avoid at least some of the most severe combat.
Enemy approaching.
Okay, so they're gonna come from there,
What do you need?
which is why we are gonna put this guy here, and we are gonna start by unlocking that one. Perfect for that. Now, I'm probably gonna want to move that guy down here, though. Here we go. And this guy can go over here. How am I going to pick that one up?
Yes, I received it, sorry.
Increase the sterperia mine down.
Show me the foe. Taking cover.
Okay, you can go and pick that one up. I wonder if I'm just going to go try to take that one.
Orders?
Enemy spotted.
Okay, got 3 back. Where am I? Oh, from there. That's what I guessed. So you can go there, and you can go there. And now you can take that over. And you
Ready and
can use one of your wonderful remote mines. There we go. So you can stop doing that. And there's gotta go the long way around.
moving.
Time for me to actually repair that. Black coins are scrap. Let's go with black coins. So that's the next wave. Now that's done. You can go home.
Are almost upon us.
Actually, I'll switch place.
Yes.
Just listen to me.
I'll be safe there.
Nope. Oh my god. Listen to me, Linda. Priorities, right?
Enemy dispatched.
Yeah, now I'm taking damage because... Yeah, I can't switch over to the other side. Won't help.
Last wave incoming.
Final wave is from there. Yeah. Awesome. I'm not gonna do anything yet.
Great work. Let's rest up before.
Because if you start healing at a very final age, it doesn't take it. It's unfortunate. Burn chance 50%. I'll take it. So I wanted to go all the way down this weird route. And we ended up in a battle. And this is a terrible map. I mean, look at this design. That's just awful.
The Axis force.
They come from there.
Are almost upon us.
Okay, let's just increase movement speed here.
Commander? Seeking cover. Seeking protection.
Yep, now the whole cover is gone. And I'm just taking damage. I should help him, but honestly...
your
Orders? Oust them for me.
objective.
Let's do that.
What do you need?
And they're gonna come from here.
Yes, Zero. I'll conquer down.
What do you need? On my way as fast as I can. Ready for orders. Got it. Moving out.
Yeah, this is terrible design.
Their target's new. Enemy down. Commander? Seeking cover.
What the? I can't go that way? Oh. Oh my god.
Me. Enemy down. Commander?
You're taking critical damage.
Crush one. Under enemy fire. Target eliminated. Commander?
Yeah, we're not gonna finish that tanky mission. It's just not worth it. I have 2 more. I'm gonna have to do go all the way there. I'm gonna lose out on that because of the terrible design of this map. It's just awful.
Shunning.
The Axis forces are almost upon us.
Under attack.
I'm gonna have to take damage too.
Enemy down.
So they're gonna come from there. Yeah, let's just do that. No. No healing. Nope. You don't have the speed. You're just gonna be put here. Oh my god. Are you kidding me? That was useless. Oh, that is awful design.
Last wave incoming.
Okay.
What do you need? Moving. Commander? Setting it. Ambush.
Barely. No range. This guy is pretty tough. For sure. And there you have it. So, I just wanted to end this video with a brief discussion, just basically how you can improve this game. Because clearly there are good features in this game, and there are some things that are frustrating. Not so much where you click and go and walk here and there. I think it's more of a design because you have a relatively small map. So it needs to be improved in such a way that it feels like you're actually combating a situation rather than fighting silly features, right? And also something to do with the fact that you don't know what you're unlocking until you have unlocked it. It will come as a shock when you unlock something that you basically don't want to use. And that really shouldn't be the case. All of them should be unique in some ways, but at the same time, not in such a way that you barely want to use them. Like the first one I unlocked, I used it one time, and then as soon as I failed that kind of mission, I was like, that's done. I'm not going to ever use that again. And that should not be the case. There should be something fairly unique with each individual mech, whether they the cars that you pull and then improve them with, or yes, some basic features that make them tailored toward a playstyle. Range 2 on most of them, unless you have an enormous ability of adding basic armor, is really not a good thing. So the first thing that I would definitely improve is just that. The ability to add unique features to mechs, specific mechs. So the one with the lower range should be more tanky, right? That makes sense. It should be tanky, but it shouldn't be that the pilot makes it tankier by slapping on some armor, because that armor gets stripped really fast, as you can see. Whereas you trying to get rid of their armor is not going to work so well. So that's the first thing. Make all the different mechs feel a little bit more unique, just not by range, but rather by feature. I would also clearly look at how line of sight works in this game. If you have a bombard, you should be able to absolutely lob a shot over the wall. If you can't see them, make it so maybe it spreads more. There's not 100% accurate. That could be a way, but it should always be that anything that's artillery, that's the main thing. They're slow, they're hulky, they might not fire as often, but they should at least be able to lob over terrain. That is great mistake, in my opinion, to not have a simple feature like that. And in this particular, when you get to this final map that I'm on right now, where you have such a poor map format in so many cases that you're just walking around a whole map. You don't even want to bother doing side missions like escorting people, because that's just, no, that's not worth the dexterity to try to do that boring stuff. And it also feels like there's no real reward for it. I don't know if you get extra points for finishing those part of the missions the right way. Maybe you do, but it's very oblique. It doesn't tell you. There are so many other games where it would tell you, like, if you do this, you get this amount, you get this amount of gold, money, whatever. It's an incentive to you to do it. Here it's just like, oh, they want you to fuel up a truck, or they want to escort this people, or whatever the case is. But there's no basic benefit for you for doing that. So I think it is a mistake in many ways to not make it as simple as possible for us, the players, when it comes to those features. It shouldn't be a burden on us to have to figure that stuff out. It should be available for you. Maneuvering things into place, fighting the good fight, adding the stuff to each mech that makes them a little bit unique, that should be the game. The game should not be escorting people in the most awkward way of doing so. It shouldn't have to be going opening doors in a silly way and you have to walk around and you have to maneuver all that stuff. It's just that's so boring. You know, the fun part should be like how do I take advantage of terrain? And then finally, the most overlooked feature, in my opinion, walls are, you know, they're not one way directional. Walls work both ways, regardless. And that should be the case here, too. It's a huge oversight where if a situation is fluid enough, you shouldn't have to try to figure out how to line yourself the right way behind a freaking wall. It should be always function as a wall, regardless of what side you're on it. So, if those things improve, like the ability to see what you're unlocking first, some of the map design being a little bit smarter, and artillery being able to fire over terrain like they're meant to, and some of the other things that I discussed, I think this can be an awesome game. It's a good game. It just could be so much more awesome with a little bit of effort to make it slightly different in a way that's terrific. And you can certainly extend as far as when this game is over. You can add a DLC where you go to other places like China, Japan, whatever, to fight the good fight with more modern things. So that's all I have to say. I hope you have a terrific day. I hope you have a great weekend. I know the situation is kind of weird in US right now, but you try to have an awesome life, okay? And as I always say, adieu until we meet again.